And hello from Lights and Gear. I've got another flashlight to talk about today, and this time it's from the folks at Wuben. I've only had one or maybe two lights from these folks in the past at the very most, and wasn't too familiar with them when I first came across them. Of course, the quality was pretty good. This time around, I believe they've actually outdone themselves with this one. This is their new T70, and it is quite an impressive light, both in output of 4200 lumens and of the features that it has. So we'll go over it here in due course. They say here it has Type-C fast charging because it is USB rechargeable. And as for the box here, you can see it's a very sturdy box. And on the back you do have some basic information regarding the LED and so forth, which happens to be a very strong XHP70.2 amongst an orange peel reflector, so you do get a very nice beam, which has a good blend, you know, of flow of throw and flood. So it's not a highly focused beam, and they do also give you the free battery, which is a 26650 26650 lithium battery. And that's pretty cool as well. Here are your outputs down here. Now, of course, all this is described in the manual, but 4200 lumens is the top output. On turbo, high will be 1300, medium at 400, and low at 40. So you don't get a really low lumen level on this, or a moonlight or anything like that. That would have been a nice inclusion. Moonlight would have been a nice addition to the low, I think. But hey, you know. But and it also has strobe and SOS, of course. Beam distance is pretty good at 250 meters. It is impact resistant to about a meter or a meter and a half, and it is also IP68, as they say, waterproof. That means, or as they claim, that it is submersible at 2 meters in depth. So it's has similar features to a lot of other types of other types of flashlights from names that you may be more familiar with. So open up the box, and here is your manual. This comes in many different languages, and you also have these little cards in here. There's a warranty card and an authenticity card and all this stuff to make sure you've got the right product. And the flashlight is right here. It's not terribly long. It's only about 5.4 inches. And oops, actually I took the tail cap off and forgot to put it back on. So there you go right here with the tail cap. As I say, it's about 5.4 inches long, and it has an attractive design on it here. There are good there's good grippers on here, if you will, good indentations of which to be able to grip it in various types of weather conditions. Here's your USB charging port right here, and I'll get to the uniqueness of that here in a moment or two. Here's has a striking bezel on the top. Here's your LED, as I say, amongst the orange peel reflector, and it's a rather large LED, being the XHP70. So there's the outside of the light, there's the bottom, tail stands beautifully, of course, and the main switch is right here. So this little devil here does all the functions of the light. So anyway, let me show you the tail cap with the spring right there. Up inside there is another spring up in the tube. Can't see that, a little dark in there. This is the battery they send along with it. Here's the Wuben 5000 mAh 26650, and it is of reasonably good quality. And while I'm thinking of it, let me show you the other contents of the box. First of all, you have this little box in here which contains the accessories. Some of this packaging actually reminded me of an Olight, of some of the Olights from a little while back. But here you have a pretty nice, or a pretty standard, I guess, belt holster. And within the belt holster are your accessories. Here's a standard lanyard. And you also have the USB charging cable in here. This was tied up, of course. I undid it. And there's also a couple of spare, oops, where are they? Well, there should be spare O-rings somewhere. Oops, they seem to have gone AWOL for the moment. Actually, I think they're right here. I think these are they. If they're not, they belong to another light. But you do get a couple of spare O-rings, so not to fear on that. And of course, we already showed you the outside of the manual here. The difference in the USB cable on this, and I hope this is a sign of things to come. This is kind of ambidextrous, if you want to say. In other words, it doesn't matter which way you put this in; it'll work either way. So with this particular light, no more fumbling as to, especially in the dark, if your battery is just run down and you need to charge it, and maybe you don't have the light to do so. Well, you'll have to find where the port is. That'll be your first main concern, but the other concern should not be that you won't know which way it goes in. So this will go any which way, obviously this way or that way. So that's the beauty of this particular USB charger. And on the flashlight, of course, it accommodates only that type of USB. So this is not usable with any other type of standard USB cable. So just keep that in mind as well. So as far as the USB charging is concerned, let's pull the flap here. And if you take the little end to it, of course, as I say, it doesn't matter which way it goes in. Have the other end connected to a power source. So just put that in any old way, and you'll immediately start charging the battery internally. And this one right now is showing that it's red, which means it's down somewhat in power to probably around 30% or so, and that gives me the instant solid red. As soon as this starts rising in power, I believe it'll start flashing in blue first to let me know it's about halfway, and then it'll go constant blue once it reaches to about 80% power. So it pretty much does the same kind of flashing in solid sequence in charging as it does to actually indicate the battery voltage. So that's the USB charging portion of it. I'm going to put the, actually, as I said, here's the Wuben battery, but I'm not going to use this for the moment because this is down a little bit, and I can demonstrate the USB charging of it briefly with that. I'll take a different battery here, which I know is fresher at this particular time. So put that in and tighten her up. We do have some pretty good threads here on the end, I might add, and there is a large O-ring here at this point. It's a simple flashlight to operate, and it actually has two different operating modes, and I'll show you that here in a second. As a matter of fact, I'll be putting up some pictures here in a matter of moments to have you have a look at what it does outside, so we'll do that as well. Let me turn this off. Now, to get instant light, all you do is press the button, and the button here also acts as a battery voltage meter, and also, and of course, when you're charging it too, it gives you the status of that. So let's push the button here, and you get instant light. Now, if the battery were down a little bit, if it were below 80% in voltage, that W, which you saw a minute ago, would be flashing. So what it does, as per the manual, is if the battery is between 80% and 100%, you'll get that constant W on there for a few seconds. Now, to turn it off, you press and hold. So one quick press turns it on. So there's your W again. If this were down in voltage a little bit, below 80%, that would have been flashing. And then as it gets further down, it turns to a solid red. And then once your battery is dipping below 15% in voltage, it will flash red at you for some time, and then it'll, as long as the battery has a protection circuit in it, it'll just conk out. So that's your symbolism there for your battery voltage as per the switch. Now, the switch does a number of other things. Let me just go through the modes here. I don't think we're on, oh, now we're on low. We weren't on low a moment ago. So this is the low mode right here. And as you can see, the beam is very nice. It's very uniform. It doesn't have a high focused spot in the center. It has a nice spill to it. no artifacts of any kind, and it's a reasonably nice color. This is cool white. The box does indicate that it comes, or might possibly come, in other tints such as warm white and so forth. This was furnished by the folks at Banggood, so I'm actually not sure if they have some of the other tints, but they certainly have this one in the cool white. So here we are in low, and then if I hit it again, I'm at medium, and then again we're at high, and then again we're in turbo. Anyway, we're on the low mode right now, so here's medium, and here's high, and here we are back on turbo once again. And again, you can see how nice and bright this is. In a second, I'll show you the outdoor shots. So anyway, as I say, this is a nice beam, and if I want SOS and strobe, all I do is double click from this position. There we go, double click, and I get into strobe, double click again, and then I get into SOS. And strobe, it puts out at the full 4200 lumens, but SOS, it only puts out about 100 lumens on SOS. And so that's right there. If I give a single click from SOS, it'll go right back down to, I believe, the mode it was in before. Of course, it has mode memory, so it just returns to a constant mode once I've clicked once out of SOS. Now, if you want instant turbo, you can get to that, but you have to have the light off, and then you just press and hold the switch like that, and you'll get instant turbo. Now, you have to actually hold it in for a couple of seconds to get it constant. If you just press it like that and then release it, it's almost like a tactical turbo. So as long as you don't hold the button in for more than a second and release it, you just get it tactically and it'll go right off. But to get it constant, you got to hold onto the switch for about 2 seconds. So anyway, we're in turbo now. Just give it one click and it'll turn off again, and then start cycling again on the next turn on, as long as you don't press and hold it. It also has a lockout feature, and for that I would need to have the light off, and then I press the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3. It does a little flash on me, and now it's locked. So there will be no accidental activation in this mode. If I forget that it's locked and go and press the button to turn it on, all I get is the flashing W. So it'll flash at me for a few seconds, that indicating that that it's locked out. And then, of course, to unlock it, it's the same 3 presses of the switch once again. 1, 2, 3, and then it blinks at me about 3 times, and now it's unlocked, and a simple press will turn it back on again. Now, it also has a ramping mode. In addition to the regular low, medium, high turbo, it has a ramping mode, and to get to that, while the light is on, I press it 3 times. So it has the same button presses as it does when it's off to lock it, as it does when it's on to change the modes, or to change the operating mode. So right now it's in the regular sequencing mode. If I press the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it'll do me a little flash, and now it's in ramping. So at this point, when I press and hold the button, it'll start going up and up and up until it gets to turbo, and then it'll give me a quick little flash to indicate that that's as far as it'll go. If I press and hold again, it'll start going down and down and down and down until it gets to low, and then it'll kind of flash, and then if you don't take your finger off it, it'll start climbing again. Now, in some lights that do rampings, they'll usually allow you to go in both directions as long as you're not holding the button. If you take your finger off the button for a few seconds, you can then start going in the opposite direction, but this one does not do that. It stays going in the direction it was going in before. So that's the only, if you want to call that a downside to the ramping, you can, because that's, so if you're, I mean, that can be a bit of an inconvenience at times. I mean, if you're on your ramp up and you're only a hair, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle between low and turbo, and now you want low again, but you're in the ramp, the only problem is you now have to continue going up to turbo and then start going down again. So that's perhaps the only one drawback to the ramping feature on this light. So Right now it's going back down again, and then it does a little quick flash when it hits the bottom, and then if I press and hold it again, it starts going up. So that's the ramping feature. So anyway, that is the basic operation of the light. Oh, let's take a look at those outdoor pictures, shall we? I want to show you them. I want to show you those right now, and this will be in low, medium, high, and turbo. So let's run those now. Okay, hope you enjoyed those. If you have any comments, of course, let me know below on what you think of this light. There is a link to it as well if you want to pick one up at Banggood. As I say, they furnished me with a light, so if you want to get one from them, there is a link below where you can click that and go and visit it on their site for a good price. And of course, you can visit lightsandgear.com where I've got the full written review, plus a lot more outdoor pictures than the ones I just showed you. So if you want to see more of those, head over to my written review at lightsandgear.com and you can check out some more outdoor beam shots. But this has been the Wuben 4200 Lumen T70. Hope you've enjoyed this video today, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.